Oh, what a lame way to start the fourth video. But I had that song in my head, and so I thought I'd play it, and it worked out a lot cooler in my head than it did on here. But basically, I am back for the fourth vlog, and I am determined to get them all in this time. So I'm just going to run through them quickly and hopefully answer them thoroughly. Oops, it cut off, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, Danielle says, when we go down to see my sister, which is about once a month, it is a 7-hour drive, and we spend most of our time in the car after we get there. This time we spent is almost 30 hours in the car and a 4-day visit. Do you have any tips on how to eat healthy while traveling a lot? I think preparation is key in terms of what you're going to eat. I'd pack lots of snacks, pack a cooler, bring prepackaged stuff so you don't have to stop and cook and cut anything up. You can just grab it from the cooler while you're in the car. But also, I think it's a great idea to stop every once in a while. Try not to be in a time rush to get there if you can help it, and get out and stretch your legs, walk around, do some jumping jacks, anything that'll get your heart rate up and make you just feel a little bit better, get the blood flowing, feel good. I think that makes car trips easier. And giving yourself a break. If you travel a lot, you can't obviously stick to a schedule that a Monday through Friday at home would usually look like. So don't beat yourself up if you can't tie up your shoes and go running for a few miles. That's okay. Just sneak it in when you can and try and eat consistently still. Skipping meals is going to lead you obviously to overeat later, which is going to feel worse, and it can kind of be a slippery slope. So just try and do the best you can, come prepared, and get up and wiggle every now and then. Those would be my tips, and it also says below it, any advice for someone who's just trying to get healthy and get to a healthy weight? Give yourself a break and do one thing at a time. And my favorite things to start with are not taking things away, so don't start by saying absolutely no dessert Monday through Friday or absolutely no sodas. Although those are great goals, I think it helps a lot in the beginning if you make additive goals. So instead of saying no dessert, you're going to say, I'm going to have one extra vegetable with dinner, or I'm going to walk 15 minutes extra a day. Adding things in instead of taking things away are going to help you feel less deprived. And also, as those start to become part of your habits, they'll naturally kind of edge out the worse habits, or not worse, but the unhealthier habits. And I think that's an easy way to slowly transition yourself into a healthier lifestyle. Danielle posted again. Have you had Coda since she was a puppy? Did you take her to dog training classes or did you train her? We have had Coda since she was a puppy. She'll be 5 in October, which is just crazy to me. But we got her when she was probably 8 weeks old. And we did not take her to dog training classes, but we were really good in the beginning with the dog. We had books. We did the positive reinforcement training. We had whistles. We worked really hard on all of it. And that's why she's got some good habits. But then we got really slack on it, especially once Haley came. And that would be why now she has some bad habits, like jumping up and eating all my bread off the counter when I'm not here. But for the most part, she's a really, really good dog, and she's really sweet and puts up with Haley biting her sometimes. I try and stop that, but sometimes Haley bites her, and she doesn't do anything, and she's really sweet, so I try to deal with her little quirks, like jumping up on the counter best I can. Sarah says, what is your educational background? How did you end up as a life coach or a nutritionist? What does your husband... Okay, one at a time. We'll start in the beginning. My educational background, I went to the University of Georgia, go Dogs. I actually did advertising there. I was in the Grady School of Journalism. I did advertising. I worked at the Red and Black newspaper. I was really into that world. I actually did take a lot of nutrition classes too, just by interest. And I was close to minoring in it, but there was a couple science classes that I tried to avoid. So take this as a lesson to take your classes while you're in college, and you won't regret it later on. But advertising is actually my degree. And I ended up, I'm not a life coach, not really a nutritionist. I guess I'm a nutritionist. That word doesn't have actually a lot of meaning to it. I am not a registered dietitian. I was signed up to go back to school to become a registered dietitian when I found an opportunity and a mentor that allowed me to start working with people to get to their health goals without having to be a registered dietitian. And to do that, I did some training and I did some education, and I am a certified lifestyle and weight management consultant, an exercise instructor, even though I don't use that obviously. And I have some certifications like that that really helped give me an educational background and allowed me to start working with people one-on-one. What does your husband do? He's in sales. We'll just leave it at that. He's in sales and he's in the car a lot, which is why I try and get him healthy snacks on the go because his schedule is crazy. Will you have any more kids? Hopefully. We'll see. But yes, I definitely hope to have more kids. Probably one, but we'll see. And what is your favorite berry? Raspberry. That's a good one. I like the raspberries. Good questions. Emily says, what 6 people, dead or alive, would you invite to a dinner party and why? I'm terrible at this question. It'd probably be all relatives. Relatives that I didn't get to meet, like my grandpa Jake. I never really knew him that well. I'd love to have dinner with him. And my papa, who died too soon. I think I was a freshman in high school, and I would have liked to get to know him better. And then great relatives as well, that are great grandparents. I think that would just be so interesting. And do you believe in life on other planets? Not really. I guess I believe in like microbes on other planets, but as far as the UFOs flying around, I don't really buy into that all that much. I'm not arrogant in saying that we're the only life form and we're the only planet and woohoo, go Earth. But I just am a proof person and I haven't seen proof that there are aliens. So no, I guess I don't really believe in life on other planets. Let's see. Moving on. Meg says, what tips do you have for getting organized? Organized. If you could see my house around me right now, I don't think you'd call me organized. It's a little bit of a disaster, but for the most part, I do like to stay really organized. And I think the secret for me is I have a planner that my friend Allison gave me. It's not on my phone. My calendar is an old-fashioned calendar where I can write and scribble, and I think that helps a lot. I organize my week on Sunday so I can kind of see what's coming up. I organize my days before the end of the day. So like in the evening when I sit down, I kind of think through everything I have to do tomorrow, and that helps me wake up with a game plan. And is that the kind of organization? Or are we talking like pantry organization? I just realized I didn't really understand the question. Basically just, let me see, I'm trying to read the question. I'm sorry. Meal planning, prepping, all of that. Just before the week begins and before the day begins. So before the week ends, I try and set up for the upcoming week so I know what to expect. And before the day ends, I set up for the next day. Even if I'm exhausted, I find if I take the extra 15 or 30 minutes to set up and get things ready for the next day, I'm much happier in the morning and I can get things rolling a lot more quickly. Catherine says, I have a 13-month-old girl and was wondering how you handle temper tantrums. They are challenging. That's what she says, they're challenging. They are. Haley doesn't have as many now as she had in the beginning. I think communication has helped a whole lot with that because I think their frustration is truly just wanting to talk to you, and I think they think they're communicating, and if you don't get it, they get really irritated, which I can understand that. So I've started, when I'm in like good mom, calm mom, focused mom mood, I do a really good job of getting down on her level and talking to her and explaining why she can't do something or trying to explain whatever it is that she's upset about. I think they understand a lot more than we give them credit for before they can even say anything. So I try and explain that to her like, gently and calmly and explain things to her. To calm her down, but there are times I'm not so good, calm, together, collected mom, and we've started doing timeout, and I have the pack and play set up in another room, and I do I'm such a mom. Like, for example, she's been climbing on the table lately, and that's not okay. So I'll try and count to 3, and I'll give her 1, 2, and she usually jumps back off. But if I get to 3 and she's still like smiling at me with that, hey mom, I'm pushing you kind of grin, I'll just scoop her up and take her right to timeout. And I'll put her there for about 2 minutes. She's almost 2. I figure she can handle 2 minutes. And she'll scream sometimes she'll play, sometimes she'll laugh, and I wonder if I'm getting my message across. But we started doing timeout, and then when I go back over to her, and before I pull her out, I get down and I talk to her, and I tell her why she's in there and what it means, and we're super cheesy, like an after-school special, and we hug and say sorry, and we say love you, and then she usually does it again 10 minutes later. but I guess I'm handling them the best I can. There's certainly some days that I walk around the corner after I put her in timeout and just pull my hair out, but I think that's just what moms do. So communication, I think, is key, and then doing a timeout so you can have a timeout too is really working for me. Ashley says, it seems like Haley is a great sleeper and on a predictable schedule. How did you do it? I think Haley's been a good sleeper since the beginning. I wish I could say I had magical tips, but I think a combo of her being a good sleeper and us being very consistent with our method of what we wanted to do helped us put her into a schedule. I don't even remember what pretty early is now, but she's a very good sleeper. I remember she was probably a couple months old when I started just keeping track of her schedule. I didn't really try and keep her on one, but I'd write down what time she fell asleep, what time she got up, what time she was eating. And really, instead of me dictating her schedule, I kind of saw the natural patterns that she was developing. And we also use what is it? Eat, play, sleep. Eat, play, sleep. Yes, I think that's Baby Wise, but we did a loose version of that, and it seemed to work really well. So I would nurse, and then we'd be awake and play for a while, and the time we got the first yawn, she'd go straight down. And I tried to avoid the overtired, because that's a real thing. When they get overtired, they cannot calm down. So that's really what helped us when she was little, and now just consistency. I hate to be such a schedule Nazi, but I mean, at 7 p.m., it's time for her to go to bed. And at 12:30, it's time for her to go down for a nap. And we stick with that, and I think it works for her because she doesn't really complain. You know, she'll give me a hug and a kiss and run up the stairs, and she'll fuss for a little bit sometimes before falling asleep. But I think the predictability works for all of us. And I think that's the last question. Awesome. Thank you guys for sticking with me for these 4 vlogs. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep doing them or not, but if you want me to or have more questions, you know, maybe I'll do another Ask Me Anything again in a few months because it's fun. I've really enjoyed it, but I don't think I'm going to become a full-time vlogger as I stumble over my words. There you go. That's why. But thanks for sticking around and watching this, and I hope you have, as always, a fantastic weekend. Thanks. Bye.